Hello, welcome to Questions and Answers with Garvin Kim and Sabine Wimmer. Uh, uh, we will have some questions. Be free to use chat if you have something you would like to ask. We can start with Sabine. She is known for film All Is Fire in Love and Film. So Sabine, how would you introduce yourself?
Hi, first of all, I'm really grateful to be here. I think this is such a cool thing you're doing. Um, my name is Sabine Wimmer. I'm from Austria. I currently study maths at university, and I'm 20 years old. Um, and at 11, I was really into drawing, and then I went to art high school, and I got to learn lots of cool artistic stuff from really great people, teachers and classmates alike. And I got into photography and painting, and at the end of my time at school, I also got into film, and I made this movie as my final project.
And how did the idea from the film came to be? What was the poster selection process like?
So I always knew I wanted to do a parody for my final project. In my family, humor kind of runs in my family. All the jokes at the dinner table are about parody. And because I wanted to choose the subject film and video for my final project, it was kind of obvious I wanted to do a movie parody. And with parody, the thing is, it gets more interesting if you pick something that you have your issues with, because those problems that you see in the genre or in the movie are anchor points for your jokes. And I love rom-coms, but I also have my problems with, like, there are some really unrealistic standards for romance, and that was really fun to actually dive into and sort of exploit this unattainable high standards for romance and joke about it. And for the poster selection, I chose movies that I knew most people would know or have seen or at least heard about once, because parody doesn't really make sense if no one knows what you're talking about. Yeah.
Can you tell us how you see the modern comedy? You were parodying the ones that today we are discussing as not just having its fish. What is your view on the state of Wimmer?
I'm sorry, I can't really hear you. There was something about modern romantic comedies.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Sorry, Elizabeth, we can't hear you well. Yes, but until you will fix it, I can ask Sabine if could you please introduce your main character? What is he going through the film? What's the story he's dealing?
Oh, okay. So the main character is a boy around like 17, 18 maybe, and he has a fight with his girlfriend because he's obsessed with movies. And he has these posters in his room, and he's so obsessed with them. He loves them so much that he talks with them all the time, and he imagines they speak to him. And that becomes a problem in his relationship. And his girlfriend eventually says, well, it's either me or the movies, figure it out. And then she leaves.
Yeah, but there is one simple thing to fix the relationship. It's at the end the two words to fix all the problem. And can you please repeat it? What did he said to his girlfriend?
He runs after his girlfriend and he tells her that he loves her.
Yeah. So
Which
simply
is,
solution is the best sometimes.
yes, and also the words "I love you" And then she responds with, I know, actually a parody of Star Wars. It's what Han Solo says to Leia. So this was actually kind of fun thing to play with as well.
And how did you start film this project? Now I'm not sure, but I think it was connected with some workshop. Was it part of a workshop at school or something like that?
Yeah, so it was actually for my diploma thesis.
Yeah.
Written theoretical part, and we had to do a practical project. And my topic was parody. So I did an artistic project on parody, which was this movie. And I filmed it in lockdown, actually, which is the reason why the actors are my siblings.
Sorry, the actors are your siblings?
Yeah, genau.
Exactly.
It's my twin brother and my older sister. Which is also the reason why I obviously had to put my brother in a wig.
Yeah. So it's the reason why we don't see the final kiss at the end.
Exactly.
Right?
We actually had to shoot the ending twice, because the first time we did it, it looked so much like brother and sister, and they didn't even want to hug. So we had to do it like a week after, because it was like, no, this is too cringe, this is not working. And then we did like the whole like turning and then like waving the camera away. It just worked better that way.
Yes.
Yes, I can. You're very quiet, but I can hear you.
That's great. Quiet no more. Can you tell us what was the favorite part of the filming process?
Oh, my favorite part of the filming process? Yeah. When we did the scenes where the posters talk, there's one movie that is Lady and the Tramp, the one with the dogs, where they eat spaghetti. And we and I wanted to record some Foley sounds of them eating. And in every time you see this poster, they're eating something different. One time they're eating spaghetti, and one time they're eating popcorn, and another time I think they're eating donuts. And I wanted to record sounds of them eating in case I need to edit them in louder later on. And everyone had to be really quiet. So it was like my family and my boyfriend. And it was just them eating really loudly as they could. And we had to hold our laughs, and that was very funny.
And sorry, maybe you mentioned it before, but what's your filming experiences? Did you film something before this, or is it your first film you made?
I did some movie projects when I was really young, like when I was 8 years old with my brother and siblings. But you know, like those fun family videos that you do when you're
Yes.
And at school I did do a couple of movie projects, but they were usually very small sort of exercises that we did, like how to film an interview. And so this ended up being actually my first short film with like a complete story written by me and edited by me. Actually, it's actually my first real movie experience.
And how did your family, your main collaborators, reacted to the script and then to the result?
How my family reacted to the script? That's a funny question. Well, it's very weird because I remember writing the first draft, and I wrote it in one go, and at 2 a.m. I was like, yeah, this is great. And I stuck by it, and I showed my siblings when it was done. And I know they did not really know how I would do the speaking movie posters. I think they were really confused about that. And but they thought it was funny, and they were really excited that they got to dress up as these different characters and also look at the scenes. And kind of, my sister was had a lot of fun impersonating Hugh Grant in the Notting Hill scene. Yeah.
And which parody poster did you like the most? Did you have some favorite one? For example, Titanic, maybe, I don't know.
I think each one was very fun on its own. I think with Titanic, the fun thing was that we really got them dressed up, and my mom did like he gelled down his hair so much that he actually had to shower after, because we couldn't continue filming with him looking like that. Even though the post is only in there for like one joke that I just had to make because it was obvious. Um, and the Dirty Dancing one was really fun because I really like, you see them full body in the picture, and we filmed this in our living room, so I really couldn't go back that far with the camera. I was like close to the wall, like trying to get the whole shot. Yeah. And Lady and the Tramp obviously was very funny. We had this I don't know what to call it, like we put up a blue bed sheet behind them just to get the blue of the poster. It was all really improvised. And and I was really scared with the candle that it would fall over and just set the whole place on fire.
Maybe I'm wrong, but did you film at the same place you are now? Because I recognize the wooden walls. Am I right?
Actually, it's my sister's room. It's the room next door.
Okay.
But they look alike. Yeah, we filmed it in our living room and in my sister's room, just because it's a bigger room than mine. And in front of our house. The last scene is in front of our house. We did it in one place with my family. Just because it was locked down, we really couldn't go anywhere.
And regarding the parodies, what is your biggest inspiration? What are your favorite parodies of all time? Maybe the ones that you were discussing in your theoretical work.
Yeah, so, well, ones I discussed a lot was Monty Python, The Life of Brian. I think it's a great parody in the sense that it really it doesn't only take the story and just put in some jokes. I know there are a lot of parodies out there where it's just a lot of dumb jokes and they're on its own, but I love when they're sort of satirical and also really critical. And Monty Python does that really well. And another one that I love because it's so funny is called it's the one where they're on the airplane and it crashes.
It's not the airplane, no?
I'm not sure what it's called in English. I'm sorry, but that's also one of my favorites. That's from I think they're called SAS, the directors.
And would you like to continue working in this genre?
Yeah, I think I will always eventually fall back on it just because parody they're so fun to make. I kind of had an easy time writing it. The jokes kind of flew very easily. But I would like to do also more serious work, things that have more to say than just, this funny love story. I would really like to delve into that as well one day.
And are you working on anything at the moment? Do you want to film anything new? And what would be the story you want to tell in your next film?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, maybe parody, of course, but tell us more.
Yeah, so I'm currently actually not working on a film, but I'm writing the story for a video game that I will program with my brother. And it would be like this classical fantasy video game with a lot of plot twists in the end. This is actually a cool thing you can do if you work in tech, but you have an artistic background. You can make these things happen and combine the two, write stories, and then actually make them come to life by programming them.
Yeah, but will it be some classic old school 2D animation game or
Well,
something?
we're planning to do a text adventure where you
Yes, yes,
have
yes.
text and then you have different choices you can do, and your choices affect how the story actually continues.
Mhm. Yeah, I know a few people. Quite popular are game books. Maybe you have heard about it. Like the books you can read as a game, something similar as Dungeons and Dragons. Um, but I can't explain it more, so I'm sorry.
I think I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yes, okay, okay.
And are there other mediums that you would like to work in outside film and video games?
So I do theater and improv, and I would really like to sort of direct a play one day. Maybe when I'm a bit older, have a bit more experience. I would really like to do that. And yeah, I'm trying to get into spray paint, but I think I really suck at it at the moment. I can paint, but I can't. I think that would be really interesting and challenging.
Mm, okay, and is here anything you would like to say? And we forgot on that. What would you say for people that haven't seen your film yet, but maybe would like to say something like, "Okay, go and watch my film because." Uh,
Yeah. So for people who haven't seen my film, I think they should see it because it's very entertaining. I'm sure it'll make you laugh, and I'm sure if you're like feeling a bit down and maybe love isn't working out, I think it will give you a new perspective of how to see love, and that it just isn't all that serious.
okay, thank you, and maybe we can start with
I'm sorry. I'm so
Garvin
sorry.
Kim.
Sorry. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So sorry. Just before we move on, it was lovely. I just wanted to ask you if you anyhow know Jas, Austrian workshop Jas in Linz. Just because we are cooperating or collaborating and with them and
Yeah.
with Robert especially, we have really good relationship, and I just wanted to know if you have any connections or if you have ever been there, and maybe you can like promote it a little bit as well. So just if you know it, because you look like you know it. So
Yeah, yes, actually, a collaboration with the art high school that I went to and the Crossing Europe in Linz, which is the annual film festival that takes place around April, I think. And I worked with them in 2019, I think, right before COVID. And I'm there every year. I watch the movies every year. And YAS is this youth program. They choose films specifically for teens, and at the end there's like a winner film, and there's a teen jury that picks those movies, so they're actually selected by teens. So obviously they fit the target group. Yeah, and they do really cool things. They do Q&A with the directors, and also video Q&As as well, where and video sessions where they talk about the movie that you can watch. Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to know if you somehow connected, because I thought that you might be, because I saw Austria and on Film for UA and stuff when you where you
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Okay, lovely. Thank you so much. And sorry for the interruption. You can continue. Thank you very much.
It's fine. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for enlightening us on this work with the institute.
Sorry, I didn't hear now. So I don't know what's talking about now. So sorry. Can we start with Garvin Kim? Yes. Okay. So how would you introduce yourself?
Oh, so hi, my name is Garvin. I'm currently 16 years old. I'm turning 17 next month, and I'm from South Korea. So
Yes. Yes. And you have one film that is called Mena. How would you describe Mena? What Mena is a student at high school, and tell us more about her story and the situation she's going through the film. How would you describe it?
yeah, so Mina is a Korean American student, as you might have guessed when you're watching the movie. But she's someone who wants to be more Korean than American, and that starts to cause some problems in her life because she's interacting with her Korean friends and also her American father. So it's really about overcoming that kind of identity crisis and the confusion that arises from like belonging in different cultures. So in the end, she ends up embracing both of those identities and just kind of understanding um, that it's okay to be like a third culture kid, quote unquote. So yeah, it's about Mina is about uh, the representation of kind of being a third culture kid and belonging in different cultures. So yeah.
Okay, and where did you took your inspiration about the story? Did you have some references, or did you reflect some your personal life experiences?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I like to say that like there's a lot of me in Mina, because when I was in the US, I wanted to be more American than Korean. So kind of the opposite of Mina, but also in a similar situation. And like when I would live there, I would pretend to like not speak Korean or like pretend to be a huge fan of this baseball team in the US or something. So I think a lot of the struggles that you see in Mina were part of my personal experiences. But at the same time, I think like Mina has such a unique like situation, and so I tried to make things more, I guess, like applicable to different people and different TCKs around the world. So yeah, but in essence, I think a lot of Mina's stories and like experiences were based on my own.
Okay, thank you.
Because you're coming from this uh, interesting family background, how did your family react to the script and the film?
Oh, I actually personally I like to keep my ideas and my scripts like personal until I really turn it into like a storyboard and like visualize the concept. Because I don't know, I think it's just a personal thing where like I can't I can't really deal with my family's feedback. Like it's so embarrassing and like personally, I don't really like to share my creative work with my family. But I think they were kind of surprised because they didn't know that I was struggling so much with my like cultural identity, like what I mentioned before about not wanting to speak Korean in the US or something. They weren't really fully aware of that because I didn't want to share that part of me with them. And so when they heard the story, they were like, "Oh, is this about you?" Like they tried to like pull that out of me. But yeah, I think mostly they were shocked, but also yeah, I think they were also surprised that I could write, like I could have that kind of creative outlet. So yeah, it was a surprise for both my family and me, I think.
Yeah, and I would like to ask, maybe I'm not sure if you mentioned it before, but what brought you through the film? What are your filming experiences?
Well, actually, Bina is my first short film. It's the first
Yeah.
time I've ever been on a film set. So it was quite daunting. It was a daunting task for sure. But also, I think I've had the support of my peers and some teachers and adults who guided me through the process. So yeah, even though it was my first time, I think I enjoyed a lot of it and yeah, tried
Yeah,
to.
but for our first film, I think it's quite a long story. I'm not sure, maybe 16, 17 minutes. How hard it was for you to make a script, and how hard it was to film it with so many people, because there is a lot of actors, for example, in class scenes. Uh, can you tell us more about the production process, please?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question because people don't realize like all the efforts that go into like a long film. They just assume that you just kind of make it. But as for the writing process, I think I went through almost like 12 rewrites. It started out as just a story of Mina and this other girl, just their friendship. But then I realized that the underlying theme really has to be more impactful, and um, I really wanted to bring in the message of being a TCK and not just like limiting myself to like some friendship story, which can be good, but it wasn't the direction that I wanted to take. So I just kept rewriting and rewriting, and then developed this story so that Mina can be like a representation of their culture kids. So yeah, I think the writing process was the most difficult. I'm not a great drawer either, so the storyboard was also quite difficult to make. And in terms of filming, it took us around 2 days to film the entire thing. And we had to bring in some extras. Like I asked around, like asked my friends to be in the film. And so I think, yeah, it was difficult to just kind of direct that many people, especially since it was my first time. But overall, the actors, I really trusted them because they had their own experience with filming too. So yeah, I think it was a really collaborative process, and it was fun. So that's good.
Yeah, and was there anything that surprised you the most? Like you had some expectation, and then something happened that surprised you the most. Something that you wasn't expecting.
I think in general, my expectations were that filming was gonna go so smooth. We're gonna film every scene just like that. But my teachers and my friends who had experience with filming kept telling me that there's at least something is gonna go wrong. Like there's gonna be something that's gonna derail your entire plan. Like we're gonna be delayed by so many hours. And so I think my expectation was something that I wasn't expecting. Like I don't know how to explain it, but so I think we did run into some problems. Like for example, when we rented the school uniforms, and the skirts didn't come with it. So we only realized that when we got to set. So we had to find some kind of alternative way to film without the skirts. So if you look closely in the film, there's some shots where like the girls are they have something on top of their legs, and then there's other shots where they're just wearing like normal skirts. So yeah, that was really difficult, and it wasn't anyone's fault, but it was scary. I really thought I couldn't go home that night, and but yeah, I think honestly it just ended up being an editing nightmare. But in the end, I think it's a cute little Easter egg for people who know about that nightmare, and yeah. But overall, I think filming ended almost like 2 hours earlier than we predicted on the call sheet. So yeah, it was better than my expectations, I think. But yeah, there were also difficulties.
Yeah, and I will have to watch it one more time to see the Easter egg you mentioned. Okay.
You mentioned that your actors, main ones, have acting background. How did you find them, and how were you working through such a difficult role with your primary actress?
Well, we initially advertised our film, like our audition process online, um, and we just went on those like audition recruitment website thingies, and we posted our own film. And I was really surprised by the number of people who auditioned. And but in the end, I think my main criteria for selecting the actors were like, of course, there's their acting skill, but also how how well can they make their characters believable. So based on those two criteria, we decided on the actors we have now. And the thing is that um, Mina is such a like character driven and plot driven film. So it was casting was like the most important component of pre-production, in my opinion. And I'm really glad that we spent so much time like trying to get the right actors, because when we went to filming, and even just during the table reads before the shoot, it was so smooth sailing. Like they read out the dialogues exactly how I wanted them to without even telling them. And so yeah, I think because of that, I think I tried to trust them in what they were doing, and really, because acting is, in my opinion, the actor's domain. And even though the director can give some, notes or like some ideas on what my vision is, um, the main responsibility for acting goes to the actor. So mostly, I tried to let that come to life and just trust the actors. And I don't know, personally, I think it turned out well. So I'm just grateful that we did well on the casting.
I wanted to ask, you said that it was your first short film, but at the same time, from how you were talking about the process and your workflow, I can see that you know quite a lot, and you have your own system, and that you understand how to do it properly. Where did you learn?
So this film was it was one of the two films that we created as part of a filmmaking program. There was this place that recruited teenagers who wanted to kind of learn about filmmaking, even though they've never had experience. So yeah, I just applied because I love watching movies, and I really love like analyzing the shots and like the characters just on my own. So I was like, yeah, why not? And then actually, we each had to write our own script, and then we voted. And luckily, mine was one of the two that were chosen. So that was like the start, the seed that started Mina. So yeah, we kind of learned at the same time as creating. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, and did you get some inspiration to make next film?
I actually created another short since
Yeah.
Mina, yeah. It's called Birthday Cake, and the story is it's like completely different from Mina in that Mina is very down to earth, and it's very like it portrays reality in a very almost pessimistic way. On the other hand, I think my second film was more, it's kind of like more dreamlike. I don't know how to explain it, and I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, they're different films in terms of the mood and the message. So right now, I think I'm just in the process of like exploring my artistic boundaries or whatever. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to make a third, but who knows?
And what are your biggest artistic influences right now?
Oh, sorry, can you repeat that?
Sorry, what are your biggest artistic influences?
Artistic influences. I think just I have this base because I watch so many movies, probably more than I should. And just it's just a natural influence to me because like I don't think that something is an influence. It's just it comes naturally when I write or storyboard, and then I kind of realize it later, and I wonder if I'm like copying some great um, filmmaker or something at some point in time. So yeah, I think just having that base of the many films that I watch, that is my artistic influence. And yeah, like I said, I don't really realize it until someone else points it out, or like I watch the movie again. So yeah.
Maybe maybe I would like to ask um, about a classroom in your film and in another South Korea films or comics, because I realized that classroom and the relationships between students in South Korea films are quite negative, and they are described quite badly, but really badly, especially in Korea comics, to be honest. How would you describe the relationship between students in South Korea?
That's actually a very interesting observation because I think I think that the reason behind that is that a lot of the drama stems from like students interacting, and that's why like a lot of those interactions are sometimes dramatized in films and TV shows. But honestly, personally, I've never been to a Korean public school. I've either attended schools like abroad or an international school, so I'm not exactly sure.
Mhm.
Even when I was writing Mina, like I had to ask around for what like a Korean classroom looks like and stuff like that. So yeah, I really don't know why like classroom interactions became so negative in media, but yeah, that's interesting.
And do you have your favorite examples of Korean cinema of today?
Hmm?
Do you have your favorite examples of Korean cinema of today?
Oh, that's interesting. I actually the movie that got me into filmmaking, not just movies, but like the art of filmmaking, I think is Parasite. If you know, it's a pretty cliche answer for a Korean, I think, but It is really, I think it's the epitome of just Korean cinema being like an art, really just like an art. And everything about it is just perfect. So yeah, that was like the start of my filmmaking journey. And when I saw Bong Joon-ho win at the Oscars, I was like, oh, maybe like Korean cinema has a chance in the filmmaking industry. So yeah, I think that's I have a personal like connection to Parasite more than any other Korean film. So yeah, I'll say Parasite.
And are you working on anything at the moment?
At the moment, no. Schoolwork is getting the better of me, but I have a few unproduced scripts that are on my computer, but I haven't done anything with them yet. So hopefully in the near future, when I get more free time, I can develop those a little more and then use it to, I don't know, create a third short or something, hopefully. But right now, I'm just enjoying the free time that I have. Aside, I mean, away from film. Yeah.
So, do you prefer script writing? Is it the position you would like to do in the future? Or what position at film do you like the most? Because nobody can do all by himself, of course.
I think script writing would be like at the bottom of my list because I have like trauma from rewriting Mina so much that like I just don't want to go through that again. Um, but I think I also enjoy like based on what I've seen in the films I've participated in, I think producing seems really fun, and even just handling the camera, that seems fun too. But at the moment, I haven't had a lot of experience with specific roles other than directing. So we'll see. But yeah, no script writing from me unless I
Okay.
absolutely have to. So yeah.
Is there anything we would like to ask? Because are there any other questions, or would you like to tell something we didn't ask you?
No, not really.
Okay.
And do you have anything to tell to our viewers who have seen or have not seen your film, and maybe who are aspiring filmmakers as well?
So to those who have seen the film, I just hope that it had some, at least some kind of emotional impact, and I hope that this film made people rethink at least a little bit about what they think on third culture kids or biracial kids. So yeah, that's my only hope, honestly. And to those who haven't seen the film, um, it's not as like fun or funny as some of the other films in the program, but I think it is very thought provoking, and it is worth your time, I hope. So yeah, I just hope that that emotional impact is there to everyone who watches it or doesn't watch it, and yeah.
Thank you so much, Garvin, and thank you so much, Sabine. The films that you were submitting and the ones that our viewers can watch are really amazing, and we hope that you are going to make even better films and reach even wider audience, because your work as filmmakers is very inspiring.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, yes, have a nice day, and I wish all the best to you. Of course, have a good relationship with your classmates, and I hope you make. I hope I will see your next films.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and also to Sabine, have all the best too. Okay, see you maybe next year. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Goodbye.
Oh.